Hello, my name is Artina McCain.
And my name is Martin McCain.
And we are the McCain duo, helping you create your musical identity. So we are in our Elevate series, and today we are going to have Dr. Jonathan Tsay. Jonathan Tsay is a consummate artist. He is the artistic director and founder of Ensemble 75. He is a visiting professor at the University of Memphis. He is the head of piano at the Chloe Trevor Music Academy, and he is artist and presenter of Clyburn in the Classroom. And I'm sure he has so many more titles that we are going to learn out about today, but we're so excited to have him on the show.
My name is Martin McCain.
And today we have Dr. Jonathan Tsay, who is a consummate artist. He is the visiting professor at the University of Memphis. He's the head of piano at Chloe Trevor Music Academy, not Piano Academy. He is the artist and founder of Ensemble 75, and he has really too many titles for me to remember. I mean, this guy has done everything all the time. He teaches, he tours the world, and we are so excited to have him on our new Elevate series.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Jonathan.
Yes, it's a
Yes.
pleasure.
So Jonathan, we've been talking to different people about sort of their musical life, their musical journey.
Right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yours?
Okay, so I'm going to start way back when I was 5 years old. I started playing the piano mostly because my sisters played piano. I have two older sisters, and so I started then, but I only became really interested in the instrument around 14 or so there's about 9 years in the woods there, but I became really involved. Actually, I had a friend who was a cellist who showed me music that actually had cello and piano at the same time, which was amazing. It was a Beethoven sonata, it's a G minor one. Way too hard for me, but it was my first introduction to chamber music, and therefore, right after that, I played nothing but chamber music until my senior year in high school, when I decided I wanted to go into music. And so I went to Southern Methodist University for my undergraduate.
Where we met.
Right. Way back when.
Wait, don't give dates.
No, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
No dates.
No dates.
And after Southern Methodist University, I had a year off. And during that time, I was doing some competitions and really trying to figure out where I was going to go. But then I met who was going to be eventually my graduate school teacher, Mark Durand, at the Orford Music Academy. And I went to University of Montreal to get my master's. But then through an accelerated program, I skipped the last semester of my master's and went directly to my doctorate. So I finished my doctorate, came back to Dallas, where I had worked with the Clyburn doing their what's now called Clyburn in the Classroom series, and I worked with them since 2005. Actually, I was flying back from Montreal to do that. It was paying rent money, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
We understand that.
Yeah.
Freelancer, yes.
Yes, and so I did that. I founded Ensemble 75 at the same time because I thought it would be a good lab, like a performance lab out of school. So again, chamber music based.
Right.
And did a lot of freelancing, worked for the Suzuki Music Institute of Dallas for about 4 years, and just kind of grew my career accompanying and playing from there. The other thing that I do with the Chloe Trevor Music Academy, I met Chloe back in 2011 when I was working for Conservatory Music of Mountains of Heva Company. That's another title I had.
Oh my gosh.
But then when she graduated from Rice, she came up, and we eventually started playing a couple of recitals together, and that grew into a collaboration that included the Chloe Trevor Music Academy, which is a summer music intensive founded basically from the proceeds from social media.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
It's so cool.
Ridiculous, yeah. So she does a lot of amazing stuff. I know a lot of amazing musicians. That's my claim to fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you are an amazing
Oh, thank
musician,
you.
yeah.
And yeah, from there I came to Memphis.
Wow.
I want
Go
to go back. So you took a break between your bachelor's and your master's.
Yes.
A lot of people don't do that, and
Yeah.
some teachers will try to tell the students, well, maybe you should go straight into school. Why did you do that?
Well, I took that year break because I was finishing up my senior year, and then I realized I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go. To the point where I didn't know whether I wanted to invest another year or two, being at a place that I didn't really know if I wanted to be there. So I decided I was going to take that year, live the life as a freelance musician, and then figure out whether or not that was the journey that I wanted to take to further to go into graduate studies.
Wow, no, that's amazing. I think that's great advice too, just to let students to be able to have the opportunity to have some real world experience before getting a terminal degree.
Yeah.
Speaking of real world experience,
Okay.
so you have lots of titles. You know, you're the head of piano at the Chloe Trevor Music Academy. You're the founder and artistic director of Ensemble 75. You teach a lot as well. So it seems like you've had this amazing career, not only in kind of the traditional roles, but also as a freelancer.
Right.
What advice would you give for like an up and coming or someone right out of school who's like, I don't know if I can make any money in music?
Two main things. First of all, so your music making, your instrumental work it's a tool, but it's not exactly everything you need. It's not the only tool you have. So you need to work on expanding all the rest of your tools. There's a saying that I heard once that I'm always taking to heart and I tell everybody, which is, be the best you can be at the things that don't require talent.
That's good. Say that again.
Yeah.
Say that
Be
again.
the best that you can be at the things that don't require talent. Because
Like what?
answering emails,
Oh.
being responsive to things,
Yeah.
you know, and having a good attitude, right? Because there's a lot of really great musicians who sit back and expect people to recognize their genius. You need to go out, you need to do all the things that, you know, lead you to practice the craft that you have been working on for so long. It's not just that you have that craft ready. So that's number one. Number two, and this is for people who are starting out, say yes to everything.
Say that again.
Say yes to everything.
Why? Why do you think that? Because a lot of people wouldn't agree.
Because, you know, you have no idea. Again, your instrument or your primary practice is a tool, but you have no idea how you're going to employ it. A lot of the greatest things that I've come into were initially things that I wasn't entirely comfortable, wasn't things that I studied exactly in school, but it was sort of tangential to the thing. But then just saying yes and doing it, experiencing it, you learn something. And if it's a worst case scenario, you have a story about it.
Right,
afterwards.
that's true. Do you have a scenario like that you can share?
I have played in several scenarios where fire alarms, and security alarms are going off, and people are dancing around you. Yeah, there have been many a late night driving after, you know, maybe a random gig or thing here or there, and personalities that you run into that are incidental things. I remember one time I was supposed to play background music for an art exhibit, and I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to be doing, but I started playing, and as soon as I actually started playing, a marching band came in and introduced the entire crowd that I was supposed to play for, marched out, and by the time that everybody had been in and the marching band had finished playing, it was way too loud for anybody to hear, so I was just playing for 2 hours with no able to hear anything.
Wow, that's a first.
Yeah, that is a first.
It was a bizarre experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's a story, though.
It is a good story.
Can you tell us more about Ensemble 75?
So, Ensemble 75, I realized that out of graduate school, there was a lot of people who were teaching who were really great musicians, but they weren't playing as much as they wanted to. So I said, you know, instead of looking for venues for people to start playing at, why don't we just form our own, an umbrella that says, like, this is of a certain quality, and we'll invite people to come in and play, and, like, if they have a program they want to propose and they want to play with different people, come in, let's try it out. So that's how it began, and actually, like, a lot of the players that came in eventually ended up with jobs in All-Star, Dallas Opera, Dallas Symphony, Fort Worth Symphony, Chicago Symphony Principal Horn, Hong Kong Philharmonic Concertmaster. Like, these are people that just came in, and then they were great players, but then they had these opportunities to play with us, and we had an opportunity to play with them, and that was that's how it worked out, and it turned into 9 seasons of really great music making. And you guys were definitely guests a couple of times.
Yes. Had a blast, and especially in Steinway Gallery too. It's an amazing space.
Yes, that was a really great hall to work in, for sure.
So I'm curious because you talked a little bit about teaching, and I think a lot of musicians think sometimes that that's the only route, that you can only be a teacher,
right.
or maybe the exact opposite, and you have to be this great concert artist. So tell us about being in, like, what I would think the middle. Like, you want to teach, but you also want to play. Like you mentioned, your friends and your colleagues.
Right.
Yeah. How do you balance that, or how did you have you balance that?
So the balance came about. Well, teaching is very much the most stable and the most lucrative means of making money as a musician. And if you're watching this and you're studying music, you will have to teach in some form. Performing, actually, that was a self-starter. You have to go out, you have to perform for free, you have to find the venues to perform for free. And then whenever you get the attention of people, then they'll start asking you to play places. I think one of the gigs that I have, that recurring a concert series that I play for, it happened all because of my teacher. I worked at a Suzuki Music Institute at the heart of Texas, which is around Austin area. Actually, it happens at Texas State. And one of the teachers there runs a concert series in Blanco, Texas. And so I had played in one of their faculty concerts that have they're completely voluntary. You don't get anything extra for it. You just have an opportunity to perform. But I said, well, let me work something up. So I actually worked really hard for the 3 weeks learning the piece, and then I played it there. And I played again at another festival where we were both at. And from that, she asked me, hey, so we have this series, Blanco Performing Arts. Do you want to come and play for us? That's how that came about.
Wow.
So the performing experience, you kind of have to keep that sharp, even if you're not, earning anything from it. But then with that, with the teaching, like, it all sort of becomes a thing that kind of perpetuates itself. But you have to be the one that starts it first.
Definitely. And I hear you kind of talking about relationships there. Like, you had a relationship with the teacher, and then it led to one thing and led to another.
Yes.
I think for a lot of young musicians, maybe they don't understand how to build those, or, why do I need to build relationships? Can you maybe talk about how relationships have benefited you? And anyway.
The music world is incredibly small. And the people that you're at school with right now are going to be your colleagues. The teachers you have right now may become colleagues in the future. So you have to keep those alive as well as possible. Don't be a jerk. Because maybe that's the other thing about being a talentless thing that you can employ, right? What is that? A thing that you can do without having talent is being friendly, keeping those contacts up. But it doesn't have to be like you're their best friend.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that you're on their radar and they're on your radar, and reach out once in a while. I mean, you've done that on several occasions with me with Ensemble 75.
This is true, yeah.
And this is why we called you to play a couple of times, right? Because it's not that that I wouldn't have called you anyway, but it's that you're on the radar. And you're just one of the first people I would contact.
I like that, on the radar. On the radar,
yes. Yeah. And so it happens starting from school.
Yeah.
It's not just something you start networking outside of school.
Right.
Sounds like it's also genuine too. It seems that some students might feel awkward. They feel like, oh, I don't want to suck up to somebody, but it's like just be like more genuine than anything.
Well, people should be friends first. I think that's really key, because if people can really see, especially artistic types, they can see through any artifice. They say, oh, this person's talking to me, but the only reason they're talking to me is because I just started this thing.
Right.
You see that really quickly too.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that history of, like, when you're up and coming, or or if you're just in a situation where you don't know where anybody comes from, just be a friendly face and a welcoming spirit, and things will start happening.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
The second date comes from performing well.
Yes.
The first date comes from, or it could be, both, or in the reverse order. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, anything. I mean, this is all really good information.
So, like, with all these different hats that you have, it's crazy and amazing that you're able to balance, like, everything. Do you have any hobbies just outside of?
Okay, I'll put them in the order of which they exist now. I have a dog. I like my dog. I love my dog, so I'm a dog dad. I like video games. So I played a lot, of course, when I have to practice less. So. And then the other one that you might not know about me, like combat sports, boxing, that sort of thing. I have a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo that I got way back when. But then in another lifetime, I was actually a boxing coach for a little
Were
bit.
you really?
See, I didn't
There's a
know
scene
that
like
about
a fight night that happened in Arlington, Texas, and
How did you have time to do this and start like chamber music festivals and series?
this was happening when I was back in Summers, from Montreal, and my Taekwondo instructor back in the day, he actually also ran the martial arts club at University of Texas in Arlington.
Oh wow!
And so we need helpers to work people to work pads for these basically frat boys who wanted to go an amateur three 1-minute rounds.
Yeah.
So they wanted to learn how to box, and so he asked me if I could learn how to hold pads, and I actually became a whole different thing. It's a real.
So the real question, you being a pianist, you weren't afraid to
Okay.
money makers.
So I'll say this: what I fell in love with as well is wrapping your hands. So you have this gauze that you basically put your hand in a temporary cast, and it aligns your wrist. And of course, you don't want to. Nobody's fighting to kill anybody here. It's just it's like a game of tag. But if in case there is harder contact or if you're hitting a bag, that temporary cast usually is pretty good at absorbing any impact. And you have 16-ounce gloves for training gloves.
I would be afraid, but that's awesome. That's such a cool hobby.
It's fun. I mean, it actually helped a couple of things too, in the strengthening of the shoulders and that sort of thing. Playing chords and punching a bag is not too dissimilar.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. We'll have to watch boxing together.
Yeah, sure.
So we have we like to end with a question about what advice would you give to the up and coming generation of musicians?
Okay, so there is be the best that you can be at things that don't require talent. Say yes to everything, and if I can think of one more, that would be that there will be many things that you will learn along the way. My undergraduate professor, our undergraduate professor, Dr. Leone, I remember sitting down with her after my doctorate studies, and she was like, "You're going to learn so much." And I thought, how? I already have my doctorate, You have no idea. Like in those years after postdoctorate, I learned so much, not about just playing my instrument, but like how things can be employed, like things that I would have never thought I would have to learn, like how to form a 501c3.
Oh, that's right.
And how to edit video, edit audio. There's so many things that you're going to have to learn. So you might be done with school, but you're always going to be a student.
Yes.
And embrace that, because you're always going to be learning, and the world is always going to provide you new opportunities.
Yes. That could be a whole series, what you need to know after your doctorate degree.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of doctorate degrees think, oh, I'm finished, I learned everything. But I agree with you. I feel like I started learning the day after I got that diploma.
I guess, isn't that why they call it commencement?
Yes.
Yes.
You're right.
Starting
Exactly.
everything. You have a bag of tools. Now here you go.
Right. Well, Jonathan, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Arjun.
So much wonderful information.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for letting me talk to you guys.
Of course. Hey, give them your tags. Where can they find you?
Okay, so Jonathan Tsay _piano on Instagram. Jonathan Tsay -piano. TSAY. Tom, Sam, Apple, Yak. That's how you spell my last name.
We'll have that in the links.
Yes. And I guess that's it, right? Instagram, Facebook, jonathantsay.com. And you can find my email address there. Just don't be a stranger.
Awesome. Thanks for coming again.
No problem. Thank you so much.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.